We are moving it. We are going. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching the Convo Couch. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
And Jonny Sue is still spinning on those ones and twos. I wish you could see him, fams.
Yeah.
He's looking good from the Christmas hair. He's got the hair up. He's got the glasses on. The kid is looking sharp. He's looking festive. You're back, a little tan from Florida in the winter. How you feeling?
Good.
Yeah?
Not bad. Yeah, ready to work. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
I was getting anxiety not doing this show.
I know you were. I can
killing
feel
me.
it through your texts. I'm like, fam wants to be here so bad. The peeps miss us. We miss you guys. And I want to say thank you right off the bat for the lovely help Christmas time with the Patreon. We've been growing on that. We're going to get a lot more stuff up there. It's a big year. A lot of stuff in front of us, fam.
Yeah. And I was just over there taking care of my Molly, and she made it through surgery, so that's the good news.
The dog.
Yes.
The beagle.
The beagle.
Well, is it going to be Bernie? Oh, we got a super chat contribution from Amers. Thank you so much.
They just want to hear you say.
From Iowa, we got this on lockdown.
Iowa.
Bernie will win. Keep rocking it. The truth. Fist. Fire. Heart. Green heart. Thank you, Amers. We do got this. We're rocking this left and right. And thank you guys so much for those Patreon contributions and these super chat contributions. We felt the love. And we have a big year coming up. Let me just tell you real quick before we start the show, because there's a lot of stuff to cover today. I know me and Fam are going to probably talk for hours, but we'll try to keep it in a reasonable amount of time. But we have Candidate Month coming up, and it's going to start next Tuesday at 1 p.m.
with
Sema Hernandez.
Sema Hernandez is actually the correct say. Sema Hernandez, and she is going to be here on the couch via Skype.
Yes, she is. Where did she run last time, fam? Why don't you tell the peeps of the world?
She ran in Texas for Senate against Beto O'Rourke.
Oh.
And now she is running again.
Yes.
So it's pretty awesome. And she has an interesting opponent in a lady, and we're going to be talking about that tomorrow as well.
Yeah. I heard she got another good partner in this one. Last time she had to take on Beto, and I remember when Beto beat her out in the Democratic primary, everybody was like, oh my God, we got to get this Beto against Cruz. And I was saying the whole time, not even in the progressive that was in the race. It was like Stacey Abrams all over again. Stacey wasn't even the progressive in the race last time. She was like the more left-leaning liberal person, just like Beto O'Rourke. And what happened? They lost in the general.
Yep.
So after election month, and we're going to have like Aura Vasquez will be in studio, David Cunningham, Ruben Major, Shahid Buttar, Lauren Ashcraft.
So many good people.
So many good people. We got about 12 to 14 people locked in. We're trying to get 16 for the month. We're doing it straight up, a lot of people, because February, fam, we hope to hit the road.
Exactly. So we have, should we talk about that later or now?
We'll talk about it at the very end. But February, we want to hit the road. We're going to tell you why. I think we've already talked about it. We want to get out there.
Kind of hinted at it. We want to go to as many primaries as we can, basically. And we want to hit Iowa, especially. We want to hit Florida. Yeah. And we're obviously here
Nevada.
in California. We want to hit Nevada.
Hawaii.
Well, Pasta wants to go to Hawaii because he wants...
Hawaii. It's April 1st. It's my birthday month. I want to start off the month with a bang. The April 4th primary in Hawaii. Let's get going. Let's get this thing rolling. Bernie Sanders. We got to talk about him. If we're going to start a show of the new year, of the new decade, fam, we should probably talk about the man who started this gangster thing. Bernie Sanders. What about him?
So Bernie Sanders has been on the rise, and he is now undeniably the front runner, in my opinion. And I think at this point, if the primary were tomorrow, I think Bernie Sanders would win. Of course, besides any sort of establishment rigging. So after raising $34.5 million, Bernie Sanders is the front runner. As I said, Bernie Sanders also raised $5 million in individual donations, which is unprecedented in history. Nobody has actually raised that much money in any primary ever at that point in history. And he is also outraising all Democrats across the board. The only person he has not outraised yet is Donald Trump, but he is the closest to outraising Donald Trump for that. But I wanted to show this little CNN fundraising number because it's really funny, because Pete Buttigieg, as famously known, had some meetings with many billionaires and millionaires in his wine caves. And when we asked him about that, he of course, said, well, there's so many people in these, in these fundraisers. They're poor. Some of them are Democrats. Some of them are not. He never answered the question. But, of course, we know that the majority of his base are millionaires. And you can see how much he raised. He only raised $24.7 million to Bernie's $34.5 million. And Bernie's average donation is a little bit over $18. And Bernie, of course, always puts a little tracker there whenever he can of the names of the people who have donated to him. During his whole Iowa New Year's Eve bash, he actually had the names of people who had just donated. I donated, my parents donated, a lot of people donated, $2.50, $3. You see how small those donations are. But even with those small donations, he surpassed Pete Buttigieg's numbers, and that's something to consider.
Pete Buttigieg has not only has millionaires, he has billionaires funding his campaign. We actually made a little cool video about Bernie Sanders' best moments of debates. It's on the Convo Couch YouTube or Twitter as well. But Bernie kind of called out Buttigieg and Biden and said, we'll see who can win this race of who has more billionaires funding them.
Exactly. But Bernie has the people. And most vitally, I want to point out this thing by the New York Times that they put out, which is really interesting because now we're seeing the mainstream media kind of like admit, oh, yeah, Bernie Sanders is a formidable opponent. The Sanders campaign has long boasted a loyal following, but also announced on Thursday that nearly 300,000 new donors gave to the campaign in the fourth quarter alone, with more than 40,000 donors coming in on the final day. So Bernie got 40,000 donors on the last day of that quarter. That is crazy. That is 40,000 new people on that last day.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I mean, that was that's big. That's huge. Once again, Bernie still getting the rallies filled. The Venice rally was really crazy. When you saw that shot, everybody around, he has the people on his side, and it's only continued to grow.
I do want to say, I want to ask you, fam, what do you think about the media, all of a sudden, the mainstream media kind of praising him a little bit? What do you think about that?
I don't think they're praising him too much, and they're also praising him on the heels of something that we're going to talk about right now, which is the greatest distraction. So it almost seems like they knew something was coming. Maybe they just did it to call the dogs off, but it's not like they're praising him up from high.
You don't think they're just changing their mind and saying, oh, well, we're going to have to let him win because he's the front runner?
No, because I haven't seen, other side from some of this stuff over here, I haven't seen them change or get more pro-Bernie pundits on there. Our people are still not on TV. They're still not on the mainstream media. They're still underground, whatnot, just because they've given a little bit of, it's like a broken clock's right twice a day. So just because they've given a little bit of nudge, I am not convinced that they're ready to give in. For me, the mainstream media and the establishment are connected in one, and they're not ready to hand over the reins.
So here's what I think, and I agree with you. I think that they're doing it because they see the writing on the wall. They don't want to be that dumb to not follow what's popular and what's trending at the moment. But do I think they actually care, that they have had a change of heart, that they actually are saying like, oh yeah, Bernie, we're going to support him? No, I don't think that's the case. I think they're just playing their cards right and giving us a little bit. And then they're going to continue pushing back because they are an arm of the establishment that is going to be used to fight Bernie Sanders at every end. Yeah. But fam.
Yes.
Breaking news.
It's breaking world news, crazy news. I think everybody knows probably. We're the only one rolling right now.
It was funny. January 1st, everything was cool. We were all chilling. January 2nd, Australia was on fire, which we're going to mention later. And then January 3rd, World War III maybe. Perhaps. Maybe. We don't know. Fam.
Well, would you believe that the media lied again? Would you believe that Donald Trump lied? Would you believe that the administration lied? We got this contractor out there that was supposedly killed. Nobody knows what company, who he is, what not. But what happened, fam? What did they do again to just go and...
The U.S. lied once again.
No.
Used lies to kill an Iranian leader.
No.
Once again, we are headed for war. They are relying on the same people and the same intelligence agencies that led us to a war in Iraq in 2003, 17 years ago. 17 years ago, we went to war on a bed of lies, and we are using the same exact story to do this again.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous.
It's a pack of lies. But once again, and make no mistake about it, both of the teams are united, Team Democratic, Team Republican. They manufacture consent all over the place. His name was Soleimani, okay? It was Qasem Soleimani. He was the leader of the Revolutionary Guard. A lot of people felt he was the shoo-in to replace the Ayatollah Khomeini. Now, the Revolutionary Guard doesn't take their orders directly from the president of Iran. They are actually loyal to the Ayatollah and the supreme leader. So they are almost like our CIA of sorts, whatnot. And the guy they took out was really someone that people will actually cry over in the protest in the Middle East. They're there, so.
They're saying, what they're saying is that Soleimani was planning an attack on U.S. diplomats and service members in Iraq.
Yes.
That is what the United States is claiming. However, there is no evidence of that actually being true. And so this guy was killed in an airstrike in an Iraqi airport along with a few other people. Now, this guy, as Pasta mentioned, not only is he a leader but he is loved and beloved by the majority of his people, and he is a hero to many in the Middle East, and we're going to kind of dive into that a little bit later. He had a lot to do with fighting ISIS and Al-Qaeda in the Middle East, and those people that he surrounded himself with are very thankful to him for that. However, to us, and the way our media is framing it, he is the most evil man in the world. He is awful. A lot of Trump supporters and people who are happy with this decision, some on the left, some on the right, are saying, oh, well, Trump did the right thing because this guy was killing Americans. He was killing Americans. It's a very generalized term. But what they're not telling you is that this guy was, of course, had people there attacking U.S. People, but it was based on the fact that we were in their country. Intervening and hurting their own people.
And let me make this clear that he wasn't going attacking U.S. bases or not. He was fighting Al-Qaeda, ISIS, who was actually funded by the United States, especially on those borders of Syria. And this guy went in there to fight those factions,
those people that were coming in,
because they're on the border of Iran. So he was protecting his country's interests. So once again, with this preemptive strike, we got to kill them over there. They kill us over here.
Right.
It's plain out illegal murder. And to see a lot of these people praising it is just disgusting, especially on the left, because they all keep on echoing the same sentiment that he was an enemy. No, he was not an enemy. He didn't need to be an enemy. And that's why the military-industrial complex has started this war. So, shameless plug, fam?
Shameless plug for you, fam.
Would you like to read it for me?
Sure.
Go ahead.
As pertaining to Iran, the military-industrial complex doesn't care if America wins the war. The military-industrial complex doesn't care if America loses the war. They don't care. They only care that America has the war. We need to pull aside our differences, our petty differences, come together and stop this war from happening. Great job, Pam.
That's the whole thing. Is like, when you start saying, what's the end game here? What's the military-industrial complex? What do they want? They don't care about who wins or loses. America, if we enter a war, we've had some people, say this for months, including Tulsi Gabbard, that this war right here will make Iraq look like a picnic. Okay, it will make it look ridiculous. A war with Iran, and we have the Millennial 2002 as well. The challenge, Iran, the way it's located, its landscape, how on the water it's located, the Strait of Hormuz, you're not going to take them out really quickly. And we have taken out their government before in 1950. Remember Bernie Sanders on the floor of the Congress talking about the first CIA intervention, and that was Mossadegh over there. These people would rather die than to let Americans come in. But the game is to keep them as unstable as can be.
Right, and that's why we had the sanctions in Iraq as well. Iran. We've been pushing sanctions there forever. But I just want to kind of surmise what I said basically already. In 2003, Saddam Hussein had WMDs. That was false. In 2020, Qasem Soleimani had the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. He was the head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. Force. He was a U.S. designated foreign terrorist organization. So the U.S. has decided that his organization was a terrorist organization, and they said that he had planned to attack U.S. diplomats in Iraq. And so the end result of this, of course, is we killed both, and also now we are going to go to either war or a proxy war or some sort of money funneling quagmire in the Middle East yet again, and we haven't even gotten out of that. But I want to point out Robledo, because he always has some great things to say. Robledo says defense contractors stand to make millions or more between the U.S. and Iran, and make no mistake, when it comes to war, there's only one party. So true. Just ask Northrop Grumman. They've spent over $11 million in lobbying our politician, both parties, and take their money by the boatload. So if you look at these pictures, you see how much money these people are spending. Lockheed Martin, United Technologies, Boeing, and let's see, there's this one right here. And of course, they donate. Look at all these people. The employees of Northrop Grumman donate to the Republican Governors Association, the Democratic Governors Association.
And that's $1 million over there. Well, 100,000 in these clips over here. A little clip, 100,000, 100,000.
Yeah, this is 37,000.
Millions of dollars they get from these companies. You know, like we said, this is not one side. The Democratic Party, if it was the anti-war party, can you imagine right now? They would mop up. They would swell their base. If everybody came out here, it was against these wars across the board. Forget about it. The Democratic Party wouldn't have to look back.
No, absolutely.
Because we don't have an anti-war party. What did Burnman say?
So, yeah, let's take a look at what some of our leaders and presidential candidates have said. Bernie Sanders said, Trump's dangerous escalation brings us closer to another disastrous war in the Middle East that could cost countless lives and trillions more dollars. Trump promised to end endless wars, which he did, but this action puts us in the path another one. And it's right. Trump ran on as a non-interventionist. We've always talked about it here. And we've said, okay, well, Trump hasn't actually started us into a war. Well, Trump, that's no longer the case. That's no longer the case.
Well, I still think he's got Bolivia on his hands, too, as well.
That, too.
This is starting to add up. Remember when he didn't attack Iran? We were like, oh, my God. We were
giving him the benefit of the doubt.
We were like, oh, Korea and stuff. We thought he was a little bit better on foreign policy. But right here, this move right here, this one is just it's a head shaker. I'm like, what the hell is frigging going on?
Probably the biggest mistake the United States has made since Iraq.
And don't get me wrong, the hierarchy of Iran has said there's going to be retaliation.
Oh, yes.
And I think it's kind of, where do you think, ladies and gentlemen, the retaliation is going to be? My friend says he thinks it's going to be a desalination plant in Saudi Arabia, because he believes that Saudi Arabia, Israel, United States, and France and England are all one side. So he believes that they will maybe take retaliation out on the Saudis, being that it's a proxy of the United States. So what do you guys think? If you guys want to go real quick, let me just say thank you very much. Melissa Petrovich, what a great name. Thank you for watching the Convo Couch. And also a super chat contribution again from A. Maris. And we also have one from Glory Jones.
Hey,
I only trust the MCSC Gray Zone and WikiLeaks for foreign policy. Girl, we love when you got stuff to say about foreign policy. You know what's going on. Mitch Osborne, thank you for the super chat contribution, as it is always appreciated on the couch. Bernie's Vegas odds are officially the best they've ever been during the primary at plus 250. Biden is at plus 175. Wow. So for you boys and girls out there who don't understand how to do that, if you make a $100 bet on Bernie Sanders, for every $100 you bet, you get back $250. For every $100 you bet on Biden, you get back $175. So
you're saying bet on Bernie?
Bet on Bernie, you're going to get the best odds for sure. Better odds than Joe Biden. Joe Biden is still the favored according to those odds, but Bernie Sanders gets you the best odds of those two. I think Tulsi Gabbard's like plus 800 or something like that. Glory Jones, thank you so much for that super chat contribution. And also, A. Maris, again, impeachment didn't stink. Impeachment didn't stick. Venezuela didn't stick. Syria didn't stick. We see through it all. Last-ditch distraction effort from Bernie. We see through it all a last-ditch distraction effort from Bernie.
Not sure I understand that one.
I don't know. Okay. Amir's explaining to us what that is. What about Tulsi now? What did Tulsi say?
You want to read what she said?
Yeah, because here's the thing. Because she did catch a little criticism from what she said. It says the problems created by Trump's impulsive, erratic military action foreign policy are again on display, this time in Iraq. Trump's military strike against Iranian militia was impulsive, short-sighted, and lacked strategic purpose. It had led to our embassy being besieged and undermined our relationship with the Iraqi government and people, serving the interest of Saudi Arabia and jihadists like Al-Qaeda. Thank you. Trump is taking us deeper and deeper into the Middle East quagmire. As president, I will end our servitude to Saudi Arabia, Al-Qaeda, and will provide the experience and sober, thoughtful, strategic leadership to the job of commander-in-chief that our country badly, badly, badly needs. Now, Tulsi Gabbard did get a little slack for this one from a few people, from like Abby Martin, Last Vagabond, for saying Iranian militia. Okay, so I want to kind of talk about that right now, because that's the whole argument they had. Anytime anything happens in Iraq, Trump and Pompeo, Lord Bolton, when he was there, they would always do what? They would blame Iran. They would always say this is a proxy of Iran. Iran is up everything that's going on. So the militia, and I just want to read what a militia is. I have the definition. It says a military force that is raised from civil population to supplement a regular army in emergency. So these are like little small proxy armies. These are little small facets, whatnot. And the whole mentality, the whole foreign policy, especially from Bolton was there, why he would push for regime change, as he would say that the Revolutionary Guard and all these other people push militias to cause an uprising against the government itself. Now, I put a little quote up here, and I want to read this right now. It says, the United States government wants you to believe that any blowback activity in Iraq is a direct action of the Iranian-backed militias, and therefore the U.S. military will justify its actions taking against the Islamic Republic of Iran. So that is where they say, okay, you're using a Pentagon talking point and whatnot. But the truth of the matter is, fam, is that there's militias all over the place. Really. We have torn this country apart, and just like the CIA, we support proxy armies. We support militias. We support agitators. We support other uprisings. Same thing that happens with Iran. They're going to support these militias going around. Now, we don't know for a fact that if it was a militia that hit the so-called contractor or hit the embassy. For the most part, it's a bunch of Iraqi people who are still friggin' pissed off that we went into their country. But not only that, fam, I want to just get up really quick. The relationship between Iraq and Iran, which a lot of people don't talk about right here. The relationship between Iraq and Iran since Saddam was removed. Remember, Saddam was a Sunni minority leader. The leader now is Shia. Iran is predominantly Shia. So their countries intertwined a lot more. The people, they were able to go back and forth a lot more and flow freely. But it says right here in this, the next one, Johnny, I want to skip over this one and then go to the Revolutionary Guard. The Iran-Iraq War 30 years later, from foes to allies with the U.S. and in between. And I'm going to go down to this paragraph real quick. I'm going to read two quick paragraphs. It says, as President Donald Trump attempts to enforce a unilateral and internationally unpopular U.S. sanctions against Iran, a big part. Sanctions are an act of war. He has been met with resistance from Iraq, which considers itself an ally of both countries. Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi has attempted to carefully balance between the U.S. and Iran. So once the war happened, now you have these relationships going over, and the United States was worried that they have a big Shia control. But his political coalition suffered deeply in the recent elections, and the outcome of the U.S.-Iran dispute could determine his successor's relationship with both governments. At the same time, a relatively liberal Iranian president, Hassan Rouhani, has been pushed increasingly closer to his hardline rivals as diplomatic and economic prospects of a historic 2015 nuclear deal with the U.S. was dashed. Now here's the sentence that makes sense. The dynamics between Iran and Iraq far predate the current equation. However, as National Iranian American Council Research Associate Sina Tassi told Newsweek, the two neighbors have been bound by a deep cultural, commercial, and religious ties for centuries. So we have this Iranian influence. And I'm going to go back to the article before real quick, Johnny, that I put up. And it says right here, and this is what I'm saying, that we don't know for sure, but the Iran's Revolutionary Guard condemns the U.S. on militias in Iraq. So here is the Revolutionary Guard saying, hey, man, these militias have a right to get involved. They're being killed. They're being attacked. They have a right to do that too. So we don't know what's what. So the criticisms against Tulsi Gabbard for saying that it's an Iranian militia, where a lot of hardcore left liberals will say, you can't do that. You're manufacturing consent for us to strike Iran because we don't know for a fact who really attacked the embassy. Was it a bunch of pissed off Iraqis? Was it the PMU? Was it Iranian militias? We don't know clearly. But once again, everything else she said, I think she's the best at it. But it's towing the line when it comes to that statement right there, Iranian militia.
And it might have just been something that she just didn't like. It might just be verbiage that she's used to using. But I mean, I do agree that we have no right to say that these people are bad because they're defending themselves against the U.S. imperialism. And that's the bottom line. And I think we're going to see how a lot of different people frame the situation. The moment you start to vilify and here's where I disagree with, I think, majorly everybody except Bernie Sanders. The moment you start to vilify the Iraqi leader, you're already giving consent. You're already giving a reason for us to go after them. And so I do agree with that part of the criticism as well. So why do we want beef or regime change with Iran?
Well, there's a couple reasons. Number one could be resource extraction. We always got the oil. And remember, once again, it's not about getting their oil, fam, for ourselves. It's making sure that they are so damaged and hurt as a country, so destabilized as a country, that they can't refine a lot of their oil for themselves. Therefore, it drives the price of our oil and the Saudi oils up. So it's always about resource extraction, but in this case, making sure that they can't get to that oil and get it out there as much as anything else. If we start war with their country, that's going to be hard. What's going to happen to the oil fields? Because you know what we did in Syria? We went and took the oil fields and we guarded the oil fields. Number two, I put we fear the growing power and influence of Iran. And this has been something that's been going on for decades now. We've been talking about the Iranian strength, the power, the influence. I think that Obama, the one thing that was really good about Obama's foreign policy was the Iranian nuclear deal. He realized that Iran was the powerful growing nation there, not the Saudis that we've been propping up. So I think there's also this fear of power and influence. It's also a subsidy of Russia. So if we could kick Russia in the nuts by kicking Iran in the nuts, we do so. But the third reason, and I'll let you read that real quick, and you tell me what you think.
At the behest of Israel. Absolutely. I mean, with Israel and Saudi Arabia, this is why it's hypocritical of the United States to do this, because this is all in agreement with Israel and Saudi Arabia. We can look at who's cheering Donald Trump right now. Israel's cheering him on. The neocons are cheering him on. The Saudi Arabians are cheering him on. All of these people that have been desperate to go to war with Iran, that have been desperate to get their hands on the power that Iran has become. And of course, with this, Russia is also our target, as Pasta said.
Yeah, I mean, Netanyahu, your boy, was up there bragging. I'm glad that Donald Trump did what he did.
Of course.
He struck with accuracy, and what he did was a good thing. And anyways, I'm not going to eat the bread.
But this has been ongoing for a long time, Pasta, right? This has been years and years and decades in the making.
Yes. I mean, we came across, and I just like to say, Super Chat contribution from Pijman, as it is always appreciated on the couch.
I didn't miss that.
He said to do the loudest one possible to make
Pijman,
you so not.
You're canceled.
Pij, we love you, Pij.
No,
we did that.
I'm canceling you.
But talking about my friend Pij, and we were talking the other day, we were talking about, this particular guy. He was the head of their kind of Revolutionary Guard, their CIA. He was no angel himself. But that's the thing. Everybody has dirt on everybody, and everything's going on. Right. Now, I just pulled up this clip, and my boy Ray sent this to me here. This is powerful here. This is a little clip from the Shah back in the days talking about just how powerful the Israeli lobby is. Remember, he was their puppet. The United States puppet, the British puppet. And take a look at this. This is some deep shit.
You think the Jewish lobby in the United States is too powerful for the interests of Israel?
I think so. Sometimes they are disserving the interests of Israel because they're pushing around too many people.
Why would the President of the United States pay attention to that lobby?
They are strong.
Strong in what sense?
They are controlling many things.
Controlling what?
Newspapers, medias,
Your Majesty.
banks, finances, and I'm going to stop there.
Well, now wait just a second. You really do believe that the Jewish community in the United States is that powerful? They make the media reflect their view of foreign policy?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You think the Jewish lobby in the United States is too powerful for the interests of Israel?
Now,
I think.
question, just as a, what is it, as a freaking,
And I'm going to stop right there before they cut my head off.
Well, let's look at the timing of this. So couldn't this have come out back as being anti-Semitic?
Yeah, but once again, he was the United States puppet of a guy who was seeing the inner workings, whatnot. Remember, that guy right there is the reason why Iran hates us so much. Because they elected Mossadegh, and the United States and Britain backed this guy because they didn't want the Persian Anglo oil company to be disbarred. And they put this guy in power for many years, and he ruled from the 50s to the 70s. And he's seen some of the greatest. He's an oligarch. He was an elite. Mm-hmm. So you know what this guy freaking knows? I mean, that's a long time ago, but that was back then. So, I mean, they might say it was anti-Semitic, and I don't think that's why it got out. But once again, this is not about religion or faith. This is about elites and the little dirtiness secrets they have. And there's the Shah, the guy we put in power, another oligarch. Just telling it like it is, fam. I just want to say also, too, Angelica Duenas is watching us on the Facebook. Angelica, we have a couple spots open. We love to have you here on the couch to talk about your run. She's running for Congress. Angelica Duenas, she's amazing. Second time around. So, yeah, and this time she's running as a Democrat. So, love to see her. She was a Green last time.
She was a Green last
time. We love you, Angelica. Get in touch with us.
Shout out
we'll
to
get you on the
Angelica.
show. But let's also talk about, what's going on. I think that, I'm done arguing with these people out there, fam, when it comes to Tulsi, because we know what Bernie does. And I was looking for the old school Bernie on the Congress floor, talking about Iran, talking about Mossadegh, talking about the CIA. I remember that. The old school Bernie, when he did that stuff, it's so great. But let me say this much. Tulsi has been leading the way when it comes to this since we had her here in this studio and we asked her about sanctions. She has been flat out saying we need to stop this aggression. Trump is leading us down the way with Pompeo, Bolton at the time. This is bad. Escalating tensions. We need to drop these draconian sanctions and get back into the deal. So I know people have been putting out there that her first roll vote, I think in 2014, that she voted against the possible nuclear deal with Iran. But you know what? She got her shit straight. She's evolved. I even didn't like her ways and her opinions on Ukraine when she first got it, but she's come involved. She keeps evolving and getting better on this, and she's been out in front of this. Yes or no, fam? Has she not been one of the better ones when it comes to this particular reason right here?
I mean, there are videos you can find of her talking about this issue, even at one of the recent ones at the debates, where she said it's going to take something very small to spark a war with Iran. And she was pretty much speaking into the future, which is what has happened. She's understanding this in a geopolitical way that none of the other candidates are capable of understanding. That doesn't mean I agree with every single thing she says, but I think her understanding is definitely there.
And right here, representing Tulsi Gabbard stops Trump from starting war with Iran. No more presidential wars. Okay, that was early, and then just recently, and the new bill, she tried to put that same clause in there for the military budget that he couldn't use any of this money to go spend it against Iran, but they removed it. Even Ro Khanna, who I've been critical of Ro Khanna sometimes, he even removed something that would remove the AUMF, which we will talk about as well, from that bill. Did Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats get behind them? No.
Nope.
All that shit was removed from the defense budget with the AUMF giving freaking Donald Trump extra tokens to go play Let's Go Bomb a Country ride at freaking Crazy
We're going to
World.
have all the names a little bit later, but
what did she say on Fox?
Johnny, let's just play the video. It's at the beginning. It's a long video, but I'll tell you when to stop it.
Iran vowing to retaliate after U.S. airstrikes take down the Iranian general Qasem Soleimani.
Here with her reaction is 2020 candidate and House Armed Services Committee member Tulsi Gabbard, who joins us right now from Manchester, New Hampshire. She's running for president. Tulsi, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Aloha.
Aloha indeed. We know that you were having a town hall there in New Hampshire last night when this news broke. What do you make of the president's order to take out Soleimani?
This was very clearly an act of war by this president without any kind of authorization or declaration of war from Congress, clearly violating the Constitution. It further escalates this tit for tat that's going on and on and on, will elicit a very serious response from Iran and pushing us deeper and deeper into this quagmire. And it really begs the question, for what? What are we trying to accomplish? What is the end state and the goal here? Look, I've said for a long time that going to war with Iran would make the war in Iraq and even in Afghanistan look like a picnic. It will be far more costly and devastating in American lives and in taxpayer dollars. And I don't believe the American people want to go to war with Iran. They understand how serious this is.
Congresswoman, how do you justify it when you look at the statistics? The State Department says 70% of all U.S. deaths in Iraq from 2003 to 2011 were orchestrated by Soleimani. I mean, when they attack our embassy, are we supposed to just stand by and let the Iranian-backed militias invade our territory and possibly kill Americans?
Yeah, no, look, there is no question about how evil this guy is. No one should shed a single tear for his death. But that's not really the question here. The real question is, what are we trying to accomplish here in this country, and where will this decision that this president made to escalate these tensions and this crisis and commit this act of war without congressional authorization, it will lead us to an outcome that actually further undermines our national security and needlessly sends more of our troops into harm's way. You know, Trump talked a lot in his campaign for the presidency, and even since he's been in office, about how he wants to end forever wars, but his actions tell a different story. Just since May of last year alone, May of 2019.
I agreed with almost everything she said here. I agree with the fact that she, you know, this puts us in a terrible situation, that it is Iraq was a picnic compared to what this is going to put us in. I agree with her saying that this was a complete unconstitutional way of going about it without congressional approval. We're going to talk about that later. But what I don't agree with is her need to talk about how Soleimani was such an evil man and how nobody should shed a tear for him. The thing is, a lot of people saw him as a hero, and I'm going to explain that further later on why. But I don't think she needed to say that. Now, I understand the audience she's speaking to. I understand this is Fox, and I read through the comments on this interview with Fox, and a lot of them were like, oh, I can't believe she's not following our president. She's acting like a typical Democrat. She's not, you know, there are those people that are going to praise Donald Trump no matter what he does.
Yeah, no matter
and
what.
That's a problem, right? I think Tulsi is on the right side here. She's trying to avoid war. She's trying to, understand the situation from a geopolitical standpoint. However, I think we could have done without the whole nobody should shed a tear for them, because there are no good guys or bad guys in war. I mean, those people, we have attacked them. They are going to defend themselves. They are going to do what they can to get us out of there. Right now, they're having protests in mass.
Yeah.
For what we did, against what we've done.
Yeah. And regardless, there's no reason for us to kill him, no matter what. You know, and like I
that
said,
was her main point, is regardless of that, and which
it
is
was
why
Fox. That's why she did that shit. I think. I don't think she would have done that on MSNBC or CNN, but I think it was Fox, and that's the politicking once again. And that's something I'm not crazy about. But once again, like I said, this guy was the head of their CIA. I think the head of our CIA is an evil bastard too as well. But that's the whole thing. To fight a monster, you have to become a monster sometime. And what's gone on in Iran is that they have to defend themselves.
Yeah.
So, I mean, of course they're going to use the same tactics. And don't get me wrong, I've watched a lot of movies that talked about the Revolutionary Guard and how it switched over. This movie Persepolis, and it's really bad. I mean, it's when people get put into that mode, but we're the one who lit that fuse. We're the one who caused that problem.
Right.
And if we just get out, we wouldn't have monsters in these countries that have to fight monsters like the United States.
And ultimately,
military.
people like Tulsi Gabbard and others, Bernie, Ro Khanna, all these people are all calling for us to pull back. They're all calling for us to get out.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to do.
Get the hell out.
Did you read?
Ray Foley on the MCSC network. There are 182 watching. 2020 fam, we are here. Thank you for the super chat contribution, Ray Foley. It is always appreciated on the couch. He is protesting tomorrow at Trump Tower, Chicago, with Code Pink and others. Go get him, Ray Foley. I love it. This is a reason I get in the streets right now. After Bolivia, and I even text some of my Republican friends back in New Jersey and said, your guy is a patsy. He's a fool. He's a donkey. What he just did over there in Iraq was stupid. I want to make sure I got all the super chat contributions over there. And on the Convo couch, we have 160. Oz, LaFave, my man, Land of Oz. Washington State loves the Convo couch. Keeping it real. We love you guys.
Washington State.
We love you guys. We're going to get up there when we can. Jason Small running. And we also have a super chat contribution. Thank you, Proof Anthrax. Don't mention it.
Don't mention it.
What? Is it how do you know it's not Proof Anthrax?
Pasta.
Johnny Sue is saying it's professional.
It is.
I'm gonna listen to the millennials in the household and take their word for it.
Okay, boomer.
Profits are taxes. Thank you so much. Important distraction from ongoing needs over and over. Presidential wars. Signed, TG.
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Yep.
Thank you so much, guys, for these super chat contributions.
We appreciate
We are always appreciating it here on the couch. It means so much to us. Where? Above them? Did I miss them? Oh my God, I'm missing. You guys are going so fast for us. There it is. A Mars. All right, I got it. Hold on, Glory Jones, right? Was that the top one? All right, I missed that. Glory Jones, thank you so much. We love you, Glory Jones. Soft neo-libs are also heard Iran is allies with Syria. Yeah, they are. I hated some of the rhetoric when you see a lot of these people. Make no mistake of it, they are our enemy. No, they're not. They don't have to be our enemy.
Take that for assumption.
Thank you for the Super Chat contribution. As it is always appreciated on the count. Beat the house, sports, and politics. Wow, whoever beat the house, sports, and politics, you're talking my language. Me and Ungi, we're going to watch you later. Ungi, I hope you're out there. A Mars for Elijah Freeman. Welcome back. Hi, Elijah. We love you too. Jim Lockett. Might as well empty my wallet on the couch. Jim, empty it out. But
you can always dig through the cushions later.
We will, and we'll put it to work. At least you're emptying your wallet out for guys who are going to get out there and hit the streets and see what else is going on.
Are you coming with me tomorrow?
To where?
Pershing Square.
What time?
I don't know. It's like, yeah.
I think I might be coming with you.
Yeah, no
I
more.
I gotta look at the books and stuff. We'll see what's going on. We got a lot of things going on. I might have a meeting. I've been taking meetings.
Jesus.
I had a meeting with my friend Maury Wolfson, who is he is a climate change activist, a big one, and he's putting together some great stuff in LA. If you're a climate activist, be on the lookout. Maury Wolfson, my man. What do we got here from Bern?
So Bernie did a whole speech in Iowa, pretty much responding to what Donald Trump said. He said, this is how the true, I'm going to read a little bit. This is how the true power of the United States is shown, and that is how I will use American power as president. As I think we have seen for several years now, Trump makes decisions impulsively without explanation, and in this case, as in the past, without any congressional consultation. Again, echoing what Tulsi said. I believe strongly that a key step in ending our endless wars is for Congress to reassert its constitutional authority over matters of war. I find it incredible that at the same time as Trump is greatly expanding military spending, I am proud to tell you that I have voted against all of Trump's military budgets. At the same time, he's spending billions on more on the military. He's cutting back on the diplomatic capabilities of the State Department to negotiate agreements around the world. And that, to my mind, is a very dangerous course of action. I have consistently opposed this dangerous path to war with Iran, which he has. But we need to do more than just stop the potential war. We need to firmly commit to ending U.S. military presence in the Middle East in an orderly manner, not through a tweet, and must understand that these wars have cost us so much blood and treasure. We must end our involvement in the Yemen war, led by Saudi Arabia, which is now one of the worst humanitarian catastrophes on earth. Bring our home troops from Afghanistan. And the United States must use its power, its wealth, and its influence to bring regional powers to the table to resolve conflicts. Let me conclude simply by saying this. At a time when we have 500,000 Americans who are homeless today, including 30,000 veterans, at a time when we have 87 million people either uninsured or underinsured, and 30,000 die each year because they don't get to the doctor when they should, and at a time when we face an urgent need to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure, to build housing that we need, to address climate change, we must get our priorities right.
Okay. Can I say something, or you got?
No.
I just want to say, where's Syria? You missed Syria in there. I mean, this is a great statement. He even talks about how we have to get out of the Middle East. There's so many things, but in these statements, the little things that I would like to see is a little calling out of our own party too, as well, who didn't support the bill that would have made us pull out of Yemen with, what Ro Khanna wanted, that would have pulled back the AUMF. In that last debate, he talked about it. Yeah, I should have never signed the AUMF. The only person who got it right was Barbara Lee. So there's some areas I'd like to see him approve on this, but this is a great statement once again. There are small criticisms, just like when it comes to Tulsi Gabbard, but these are the only two candidates that are on the right path.
No, that's a lie. Pete Buttigieg is also on the right path.
No, he is? Oh, my God,
Yeah.
PDB.
Pete is on the...
What did PDB put up, fam?
Pete said, my statement on the killing of Qasem Soleimani.
Oh, my God,
He
I
said,
can't wait for this shit.
The top priority of a commander-in-chief must be to protect Americans and our national security interests. There is no question that Soleimani was a threat to that safety and security, and that he masterminded threats and attacks on Americans and our allies, leading to hundreds of deaths. But there are serious questions how this decision was made and whether we are prepared for the consequences. As a former military intelligence officer on the ground in Afghanistan, I was trained to ask the hard questions before acting. As commander-in-chief, a commander-in-chief must do the same. Before engaging in military action that could destabilize an entire region, we must take strategic, deliberate approach that includes consultation with Congress, our allies, and our stakeholders in the Middle East. The lawful constitutional role of Congress in matters of war and peace must be respected, and the American people deserve answers on how we arrived at this point. The national security infrastructure we have in place and the basis for this decision. Blah, blah, blah. Real dangers to American citizens and in our uniform in the Middle East. We must prepare for an impact of regional stability, complex forms of retaliation,
Really?
and the potential for escalation into war.
That's just like manufacturing. Like, we're going to go in there. We're going to be able to retaliate because we need to. We have to get region stability. What does that mean? We're going to send more troops over there to get regional stability?
Yeah, it's to...
oh, God.
Oh, and Elizabeth Warren.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Hold on, I don't have myself. Check.
We got it? Johnny Sue, 2020, first statement. Make it up, kid. Talk about it.
Hello. No?
Is it the other microphone over there is plugged in? I think you're on 4. Are you plugged in?
Hello. No.
I think it's the other microphone that's plugged in.
You're right.
It's number 4. Are you plugged in? Let's see.
Just read this.
Okay,
Sure.
so this is Rob. Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons. Iran never invaded the United States. Iran is surrounded by American military bases. We love that picture out there. Iran has a smaller military budget than Canada. Iran isn't causing the genocide in Palestine or Yemen. Iran poses absolutely no threat to the United States. No war with Iran. Hashtag. And let me tell you something. They haven't invaded somebody in 3 decades since it was Darius in the movie 300. That's it. And that's when Iran was attacking people. They haven't done dick in how many years? We've been in that country for how long? Making them the evil empire.
We are the bad guys in this scenario.
Oh, my God.
I mean, our government, our military industrial complex, not the innocent people here that are, trying to make ends meet, not the soldiers that are going to be deployed and sent over there to fight into another war. No. But our military industrial complex and our neocons, those are the bad guys. And we are over there attacking, sending poor people to attack other poor people for rich people to profit off. That's all this is about at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Warren,
The progressive?
does not differentiate herself very much from a neocon. Look, she said Soleimani was a murderer responsible for the death of thousands. This is why Tulsi's statement and Fox really bothered me, because this is flat out saying, focusing on that he was a murderer responsible for the death of thousands, including hundreds of Americans. But this reckless move escalates the situation with Iran, blah, 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 blah. Our priority must be to avoid another costly war. This is so similar to Liz Cheney, who said Soleimani was an evil and deadly terrorist with the blood of thousands, including hundreds of Americans, on his hands. She said thousands, including hundreds of Americans. Okay. And then she says Donald Trump was right to order decisive action to kill Soleimani to prevent further attacks and defend American lives and interests. So if you look at these two statements...
So fucking dumb. Sorry.
But if you look at these two statements, they're very similar. The only difference is she has to attack Trump in some way or another, and this one has to praise Trump in some way or another. But the end result is still the same. The reasoning behind it is still the same. You are saying it's okay to attack Iran, to attack this man because of who he was and what he did. And to me, this is you're completely rationalizing that it's okay to do that, and it's not. That's why I have so much issue with any sort of like, okay, he was terrible. We did it to Assad too when it came to Syria.
Yeah, we did. And that was we talked about that, and that's something we couldn't even get today. The OPCW, Assad, it looks like Tulsi got it right. You know what I'm saying? He was a deadly murderer. How could you go see him? He gassed his own people. Well, now we had evidence he didn't gas his own people. So it looks like she keeps getting this foreign policy stuff right. But yeah, I do like to digress and say that the statements on Fox were a little bit too much too as well. I didn't like them. He's a murderer or whatnot. But, obviously, that is the problem. I mean, it sucks that in United States policy, when you're running a campaign, that there's a whole demographic of Americans that think this G.I. Joe mentality is okay.
Yeah.
It's not. It's murder, death, and destruction.
Care what party you belong to. It is, you're not only killing people here, you're killing people abroad. And that to me is just undeniable.
Yeah. And also Gloria Jones with the Super Chat contribution said, Pete is on the right path for a job at Raytheon. I think he already worked for those companies, Gloria Jones.
Well, he got McKinsey, so what's next?
Yeah, she's the best. I love you, Gloria Jones. That's everybody for the Super Chat contributions right now so far. Thank you so much. On the MCSC network, I don't see anything. I think we're good. Guys, thank you for joining on in. We have 150 watching over there, 160 watching on another channel. A lot of people back for the first show. We even got 15 to 20 watching on our Facebook, including Michiko. We love
What's
you,
up,
Michiko.
Michiko?
So, your favorite.
So Max
Max.
Blumenthal tweeted something really nice about the hypocrisy of Donald Trump, because Donald Trump has said, of course, that he is going to end all these wars, blah, blah, blah. And he was criticizing Obama, saying in order to get elected, Barack Obama will start a war with Iran. And this was in 2011. And then he says, then here we are in an election year, and look at what you've done. I mean, that tweet didn't age well.
No.
Not in the slightest. Okay. So who was Soleimani?
You've been exposed. Oh, wait a second. There it
love
is.
it.
We were waiting for it like that. Donald Trump, you've been exposed with your beat. Let me tell you something. Donald Trump,
So
completely done.
Well, yeah,
86,
because
done.
Tulsi's
with this one.
got a lot of flack for not criticizing Trump enough, according to some people. We've even, we don't criticize Trump on the rude things he says as much because the mainstream media does that. They focus on that. But am I going to criticize Trump on this? Absolutely.
No.
Am I going to criticize him on wasting all of our money that he's not putting into our domestic economy and putting it out there? Hell yeah. You're going to see us criticize Donald Trump for the right thing, not for some freaking, sentimental, emotional thing that I didn't like that he said X thing.
Yeah.
But who is Soleimani, fam?
We should talk about Qasem Soleimani, which he was the head of the Revolutionary Guard, and he was like he was a huge approval rating, which I know you're going to talk about, but he was like shoo-in to take over the Ayatollah Khomeini as a supreme leader. That's how much love this guy was.
So he was a hero to many in the Middle East, as I said before. He was instrumental in defeating ISIS and Al Qaeda.
Yeah.
And he, like Pasta said, was the prime leader. He was said to have an 82% approval rating.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound to me, again, this is similar to Assad. It does not sound to me like somebody that is a brutal guy that's just going to kill all these people. He was also tasked to carrying operations beyond Iran's borders. He worked also with Syria, with Bashar al-Assad, and looked close and when he was trying to defeat the civil war raging in 2011.
Yeah.
So he's been, of course, in power for a while. He came from a poor family when he ascended to power. And he was somebody that that was disliked by the United States because of his associations with people like Assad, because of his kind of anti-U.S. imperialist actions over there. Like we've said, they had to defend themselves against what we were trying to do.
Yeah, you put there number one. And this is really important because I think a lot of people, the misconception that the United States got in there and bombed Al Qaeda and ISIS back, and they were the ones. No, the real people who removed the majority of ISIS, the majority of Al Qaeda, were from the behest of my man, I don't want to say my man, Qasem Soleimani. Okay, he's the one, along with the Syrian, I believe, with the Syrian army, for the Assad forces, that eventually removed and defeated ISIS, that defeated Al Qaeda. It was these two factions of them working together. They're the ones who really did the dirty work over there and got these people out of there. The majority of them, they're still there, but
And along with him, the person there was a few people that were killed that were thanked by a lot of these minority groups in the Middle East for getting rid of ISIS. They were actually thanked and lauded, please, thank you so much because you guys got rid of them. The United States were not the ones that got rid of them. So number 3 I have up here, the U.S. government are hypocrites because we supply Saudi Arabia, who helped support ISIS after we created ISIS and other groups like Al Qaeda. And that is verifiable. You guys can look that up anywhere, but we have an article here that talks about how the U.S. pretty much created Al Qaeda and ISIS.
Did.
But there are people who still deny that, who say that's not true.
Fam, that's not true. That it's moderate rebels that we are supplying out there in Syria. And let me tell you that Joe is over here. He agrees with me too. Moderate rebels.
But
he laughed. That was a good Obama.
No, I think you're better at your Bernie. I don't know.
All right, well, then we got to go do it. Go on ahead. Talk it up.
So
I'm here.
My problem, fam, the thing that got my blood boiling was how the mainstream media is painting this guy and also Trump's actions, because mainstream media, this is CNBC, and they're supposed to be liberal. But look, America just took out the world's #1 bad guy.
How come we never heard anything before it that he was the #1? Nobody knew who this guy was. They didn't even know his
Nobody
freaking
knew
name.
anything
Unless you
about
were in
him.
the echo chamber or in the bubble, you didn't know this guy's name. I've seen this guy's name about 2 or 3 times before in my lifetime. I think
Yeah.
the first time I heard it was 2016 when I just read an article that was talking about the head of the Iranian, the guard. So the Revolutionary Guard. So I mean,
Right.
like, nobody, now all of a sudden he's the #1 bad guy. Why? Because the mainstream media, just like the Shah says, is used by the elites. They're an extension of it. All they want is war. They don't care if America wins the war. They don't care if America loses the war. All they care about is that America has the war.
And-
Because then it's dollar bill, y'all.
Wall Street makes hella money from
Oh,
it.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say, I've been skeptical of this guy because I've been seeing counter narratives left and right. But then you see the mainstream media, freaking
CNBC.
Yeah.
coming out saying he's the #1 bad guy. So
Yeah.
you can use them as a kind of like reference to be like, okay, this might be some bullshit.
It's like Fiorella when she sees that somebody gets the endorsement for the Democratic Party. That's the first red flag. She's oh no, hold on.
Yeah, there's
if the
something wrong with
Democratic
these
Party's
people.
endorsing them, then no. Now, fam, we should go into this because we had this little back and forth earlier today, and once again in the United States, nobody ever gets prosecuted. Nobody ever goes to jail. In fact, they'll cause other crimes to try to distract from their own crimes, a la Joe Biden in Ukraine. But is this illegal? I say
no.
It's not illegal.
I mean, no, I say yes, this is illegal.
'cause I was reading that. I say no.
You say no.
I-
I say yes.
Well, I say yes, but it's nothing illegal that anybody will push for because of the AUMF allows that door to be open for many things. It is debatable, but whether it's illegal or illegal, nobody will ever be held accountable because how can you just start at Trump?
Oh, you mean by today's laws?
By today's laws.
You're saying, but in today's laws and the way everything's the establishment right now, it's not. It's totally illegal.
Guys,
No,
we've
it
had
is-
Mark
it
Sloboda
is-
on the show.
It is completely
You
illegal.
said it's illegal.
Yeah.
Okay. But we've had Mark Sloboda on the show. He's going to be back Tuesday to talk more about this. The United States government, the Congress, the Senate, they have what's the word? Exacerbated when you just get completely pushed it away. They don't want any responsibilities.
Yeah.
That's why they signed the AUMF into law. Because now they're not responsible. And Donald Trump can go over there and play G.I. Joe whatever he wants. But if you want to make your argument, fam, go ahead.
So this is illegal, and I'll tell you why. But I do think that this was facilitated by U.S. actions, including Democrats.
Yes.
So here's the NDAA. 188 Democrats voted for, which removed the provision of, quote, no unauthorized war against Iran. This is what Pasta was talking about.
Yes.
You can see the whole thing here, and it basically just says prohibition, section 1229, prohibition of unauthorized military force in or against Iran. And Congress finds the following: the acquisition by the government of Iran of a nuclear weapon would pose a grave threat to international peace and stability and the national security of the United States and the United States allies, including Israel. And I hate the fact that Israel's always on there, by the way. The government of Iran is leading state-sponsored terrorism, continues to materially support the regime of Bashar al-Assad. Here we go.
Yep.
And is responsible for ongoing gross violations of the human rights of the people of Iran. And 3, Article 1 of the United States Constitution requires the president to obtain authorization from Congress before engaging in war with Iran. So I even have a problem with these two things over here, but it is this Article 1 right here, okay,
Number 3.
that protected Donald Trump from just being able to do that. But the problem is that they voted against this. And so
moved it
this
out.
was removed. This was removed.
This-
And 188
Tulsi,
Democrats voted for it.
Roe, They all
So-
wanted this in there, fam.
But look at all the Democrats who voted yes.
Katie Porter,
Katie Porter.
Carly
the woman,
Rauda?
The woman we have been told is the progressive.
Steny Hoyer.
Steny Hoyer.
Is that Joaquin Castro?
Joaquin Castro.
Is that Jim
Brad
Clyburn?
Sherman. Jeff Clyburn.
Mr. Lamb?
Connor Lamb.
Mike Levin?
Mike Levin, who had been
Oh.
endorsed by Bernie at one point.
Pass the torch, Mr. Swalwell. That little
Yeah,
freaking
friggin-
schmuck, you, Swalwell. Who else?
Davis from California is another one. California has a lot of neoliberals.
Sherman again.
Yeah.
Wow.
But look at the nays. Oh, wait, I missed one. Connolly, and then Debbie Wasserman
Schultz, of course.
and Moulton.
Who are the nays?
The nays.
Oh, look at you, Jimmy
Judy
Gomez.
Chu.
Judy Chu. I'm going to go Tulsi Gabbard. Jayapal,
Gomez, Jayapal.
Kennedy, Ro Khanna. We're going to give you some credit today. Barbara Lee, Levin in Michigan, not McGovern, Napolitano, my paisan, AOC, Omar, Ayanna Presley,
and Tlaib.
The squad got it right, squad.
So the squad got this right. Not voting.
Right.
Ted Lieu. Ted Lieu didn't vote.
Ted Lieu
and
is
Nanette Berrigan. Who's
another one. Well, that's okay. It's better than a yay vote, I guess.
But,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
this is why I think it was a violation of international law more than anything. So
Soleimani,
we're
going to pay attention to international law, fam. Come on.
But fam, it's still wrong. So Soleimani, the commander of the elite force, was killed, of course, after his convoy hit the U.S. missiles, blah, blah, blah. But in a statement Friday, the leader of Iraq's protest-challenged government, Adil Abdul Mahdi, said the U.S. assassination operation was a flagrant violation of Iraqi sovereignty and an insult to the dignity of this country, of his country. And he also said that the U.S. had violated the terms under which the American troops are allowed to stay in Iraq with the purpose of training Iraqi troops and fighting the jihadist organization Islamic State, IS, formerly ISIS. He added that the killing may trigger a major escalation of violence and result in a major devastating war in Iraq that will spill out into that region. And they have called for the parliament to hold an emergency session to discuss the appropriate response. Wow. So these people aren't just going to stay put and do nothing, okay? But I want to go into yet another explanation, fam, because this guy pretty much broke it down really well.
Who is this guy?
Agnes Calamard. He said the targeted killings of Soleimani and Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis are most likely unlawful and violate international human rights laws. Outside the context of active hostilities, the use of drones or other means for targeted killings is almost never likely to be legal. To be justified under international human rights laws, intentionally lethal or potentially lethal force can only be used when strictly necessary to protect against an imminent threat to life. In other words, whoever targeted these two men would need to demonstrate that the persons targeted constituted an imminent threat to others. An individual's past involvement in, quote, terrorist attacks is not sufficient to make his targeting for killing lawful. So if you guys recall, Donald Trump is saying they're trying to tie this to the attacks 17 years ago or 19 years ago. They're just saying, oh, yes, they were involved in these terrorist attacks. So, they present an imminent threat. That just doesn't fly, fam. It doesn't fly. Furthermore, drone killings of anyone other than the target, family members or others in the vicinity, for example, which they did kill a kid at a wedding, would be an arbitrary deprivation of life under human rights laws and could result in state responsibility for individual criminal liability. The use of drones in the territory of other states has also been justified on the basis of self-defiance. Under customary international law, states can take military action if the threatened attack is imminent. No other means would deflect it, and the action is proportionate. So,
fam. The AUMF is going to use that as an excuse.
That's
to do
fine,
but
not.
The fucking
but that
time.
doesn't
That's
change the
just
fact
said
that
drone
it's
strikes
illegal.
are illegal. We've been using drones. Obama, that was his big thing, was drone warfare. Let's get the troops home, so therefore my American constituents can see me bringing the troops home, and I'm doing what George Bush couldn't do, but instead I'm going to use drones and go drone crazy.
Johnny, can you do me a favor? Can you please pull out Sean King's Twitter? Because he tweeted something that I really liked, and I forgot to put it in. Sean King spoke about how Obama, to Pasta's point, Obama actually okayed this issue because Obama used drones and drone strikes. Now, like Pasta said, we can't necessarily go and attack Trump's use of drone strikes.
Yeah.
Right? Obama set the stage up for this to be a thing, for this to happen. And so it is worth pointing out that this is something that has been, of course, in the making long before Trump. But of course, now, again, we've come to the point where this is, an exaggeration.
It's the foreign policy of the United States since the Iraq War, since the Wolfowitz Doctrine has been the same. It's been to anybody that we see as a threat. Anybody we see as a threat, we don't need proof. We can just take them out. And that's been the foreign policy.
But
Obama
it's unconstitutional.
It's unconstitutional. It's against international law, fam. But once again, we've never held anybody accountable in this country. And that's something as we as people...
doesn't mean we can't be in.
Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you right now. I'd like to see a lot of people go free. I told you, fam, I'd hang them up in the streets, Mussolini style, to show something. We didn't even put something in here today. China is actually going to execute a banker that stole $100 million for them. And I wanted to talk about that. But that's what we friggin' need. We need to eat the rich. Some people got to pay the price. We got to put, they used to say, we put one guy in a F me in the ass prison, and therefore it's over. But we're not doing that, fam. We're letting all these people to go. And I think I find it completely hypocritical. Hypocritical, excuse me. Yeah. To sit there and also just start pointing the finger at Donald Trump and say Donald Trump has to be the first.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he's going to hang, we got to hang a lot of other people.
And Tulsi, again, I'm not going to go to it, but she does also think it's a violation of the Constitution. So what happens now? Well, Pasta had another shameless plug. He put it.
I did. I said, why don't the Democrats impeach Donald Trump on today's illegal assassination of an Iranian official? Why? Because they're a bunch of spineless, heartless, warmongering, regime change aficionados, and their policies completely align on war. They are no better than Trump. Especially when it comes to 400 policy. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much. Get me up.
And you guys saw that all these Democrats voted. Yeah, I mean, it was just the usual suspects. A couple of surprises, but the usual suspects that voted nay on that. I mean, that's the majority of the Democratic Party.
Yeah,
they're okay with what's going on.
They're trying to say that this whole let's impeach him on a phone call where we can't even prove this quid pro quo. But right here, you know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. Walk in there with articles of impeachment and say you broke international law. You killed somebody without the consent of Congress in an assassin, a straight up assassin style way. But they won't do it. Why? Because they align. Every single one of these people, oh, he was an enemy. Oh, he's terrible. Oh, he's an enemy. They'll manufacture consent no matter what. Just like they did with Bashar al-Assad when Barack Obama went into Syria. It's the same freaking thing, fam.
So what is Iran's reaction? So Iran's ambassador to the United Nations says the killing of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani is an act of war.
It is.
And they are planning on retaliating. And so I'm going to play this little short video by CNN on what they plan on doing, because they vow revenge on US for the attack. It's right here. It's Twitter in the document. Yeah.
That one. Why did I give this idiot
Is this going to become a different sort of war? A shooting war, for lack of a better word?
As I said, the U.S. started the economic war in May 2018. Last night, they started a military war by assassinating, by an act of terror against one of our top generals. So what else can be expected of Iran to do? We cannot just remain silent. We have to act, and we will act.
And you will have to act militarily.
The response for a military action is a military action. I mean, by whom, by when, where? That is for the future to witness.
All right, Ambassador Avanci, thank you very much for your time tonight.
Jeez,
thank you.
Fam.
Yeah,
it's coming.
So
where do you think it's coming, ladies
and
gentlemen?
Here we go. I mean, what do you expect them to do? Here's the thing. I'm not advocating they attack us, but I'm just saying, like, what do you expect them to do? I mean, not only have we been in their country and interfering and throughout the Middle East, we are now manufacturing an attack. We assassinated one of their leaders, several of their leaders actually, based on a pack of lies again. And now we're going to pretend that they are the bad guys?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Oh. It's disgusting. And Bernie,
Jesus.
and I got to point this out because, and I'm going to point this out, I'm going to give your girl a point. Bernie introduced legislation to stop funding the war with Iran with Ro-Khanna. I'm all excited about this. This is great. But the problem is they're not going to get this through. Because unfortunately, we have a Senate that is majority Republican. We have a bunch of neocons in the Democratic Party. But basically, this legislation is going to block funding for the war with Iran. They introduced it today. And it says, today we are seeing a dangerous escalation that brings us closer to another disastrous war in the Middle East. Our war with Iran could cost countless of lives and trillions more dollars and lead to even more deaths, more conflict, more displacement in that already highly volatile region of the world. War must be the last recourse in the international relations. That is why our founding fathers gave the responsibility over war to Congress. Congressional inaction in the face of a threat of a catastrophic and unconstitutional Middle East conflict is not acceptable. After authorizing a disastrous $738 billion military budget that placed no restrictions on this president, and this is kind of where they're attacking their own party, from starting an unauthorized war with Iran, Congress now has the opportunity to change course. Our legislation blocks Pentagon funding for any unilateral actions this president takes to wage war against Iran without congressional authorization. So, you guys, this is an attempt by Bernie Sanders. Now, we know that Tulsi Gabbard had the Stop Funding Terrorist Act. I believe that got through as a section of NDAA, did it not? I'm pretty sure it did.
I'm not sure. I think it got pulled. I'm not sure. I have to check up on that. I know that in this last NDAA, she tried to put the whole Iranian thing we talked about, and they pulled that too as well. And I don't know if she voted just present on it, and what happened with the bill when it went to the Senate. But I do not know for sure if that got through. That was also something that Roe wanted to do a couple bills ago.
Yeah.
A couple defense about when it came to Yemen too as well, and he wanted to stop that. Whatever the case may be, we're all over there like crazy, And this is all about, hey, listen, we have a $717 billion military budget. They're going to spend it on something. What's going to be spent on? Causing chaos and terror throughout that region over there, as well as also propping up all the dictators and the bullshit in South and Central America and making sure guys like Bolsonaro can make it through too as well. So this is part of our foreign policy as a whole. We need to just stop. We have to take this back, and we need real change.
And this is why Pasta and I understand that you cannot separate domestic policy from foreign policy, because right here, this shows you flat out how you can't, because what Bernie Sanders and Ro Khanna and people like Tulsi Gabbard are attacking Donald Trump on now is that all of this money being spent on this war is completely taken out in a way from our domestic economy. He's mentioned it there. We have people that can't afford, don't have housing. We have homelessness crisis. We have people uninsured. We have all of these issues, and none of that is going to get addressed because all of our money and all of our efforts and all of the media attention and all of everything else is going to go directly to funding and fighting this proxy war. If we're lucky, it's a proxy war. If we're unlucky, it's a world war or just another disastrous money funneling war, and none of this is going to get addressed. We are in an election year. And now we have to deal with that on top of this, on top of all the domestic and economic issues that we have in the United States. Now that to me is irresponsible. I think Donald Trump, actually, this is probably one of the things he did that might have hurt his presidency. Impeachment has helped him, but I think this might hurt him with some of the people that still thought that he was anti-interventionist. I mean, this is undeniable. His base will be there for him.
Yeah.
With the jingoistic patriotism of, oh yes, let's go fad the bad guys, but the majority of the people in agreement are
the elites are in the agreement, and like you said, all this money that was spent over there, not just only that's the kind of libertarian fiscal mentality. We spent. This is why we can't have nice things, Fiorella, because we spend it over here, and now we don't have money for education, for infrastructure, for all those things that we need, that we want to spend on ourselves with our own tax dollars. It's going so some elites can make thousands and millions of dollars over there. And here's the thing: what about the compassionate side, the progressive side? We're going around bombing, causing death and destruction. Not only the American service members that come home, where 22 of them every day take their lives from PTSD, and what we're doing to our young men and women of our own country, but what we're doing over there is disgusting as well. And it's the same thing over and over and over and over again. I got a little quote here from Ron Paul. What if American people woke up and understood that the official reasons for going to war are almost always based on lies and promoted by the war propaganda in order to serve special interests? And it's the Iraq just changing to Iran.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely true, fam. And again, and the socialist in me is going to say, there is no war but class war.
Yeah.
Right now, we're not going to be able to fight the class war against these elites when we're busy fighting their little wars for them so they can fill their pockets. I mean, it's enraging to me. Yeah. It's enraging to me. They're doing this to completely just squash the poor out, have the poor kill each other across countries while they just continue the status quo. This is why foreign policy is so important, and why we need an anti-war movement, and why I advocate every single person tomorrow goes to a war protest. There are many online. Answer Coalition had several. Code Pink has some going on. Go, because we can protest Donald Trump on impeachment, have impeachment parties. We protest him on his taxes. We protest him for every other stupid situation. We go there and wear pussy hats once a year. Where is the outrage
Yeah.
for all of this money going into the war machine? I want to see people in the streets for that. I want to see an anti-war movement in the United States. There has not been an anti-war movement since the 60s. There hasn't been one. And it's about damn time we actually stood up and said, no more war, because that is directly tied to our class warfare, our class issues, and fighting these oligarchs.
And it's also tied to, and thank God for Elizabeth Warren out there, our war mentality, our war habits, they also lead to global warming. And Elizabeth Warren wants to drop green bombs, and that's going to help because why? Australia be on fire.
Yeah,
Fam,
exactly.
what's going on?
So Australia has very neocon anti-climate change, climate change in our people in government. And 500 million animals have died in these fires, and they're not doing anything about it. These people, these elites, they're not doing anything about it. They have burned thousands of acres, and the Washington Post just has pretty much, just shows how bad this has gotten. I mean, it's disgusting. The sky is red over there. These people don't know what to do. It is just bad, fam. And if you've seen any of these pictures, you'll see that these people are just needed to be rescued. And the fires have spread all over the place. We can see this
They
map,
were caught on a
Johnny.
beach at one place, right?
Yeah.
He's got the map up. They were caught down on a beach. I remember the Navy had to come in there. They could only get 1,000. There was 3,000 stuck.
This has been going on since October 1st. You guys?
Wow.
That's insane to me. Look at this.
And we're just hearing about it now.
Well, nobody was paying attention until a lot of
We
these
need
animals
green bombs,
started to
fam.
die.
Green bombs going to save us.
Fire tornadoes. Have you ever heard of fire tornadoes?
Wow,
fam?
look at this. He's playing it up there. Look at that. Oof. Let me just take some of this down.
This is something we're not going to see the results, the consequences till years later, because Australia had a very diverse, set of organisms, of fauna, of just life, and all of that is completely ruined, and nobody's really talking about this.
Somebody said the Australian Armin Manoogian, our boy over there, he sent us a little thing. It says Scott Morrison, who was the Australian Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, to slam environmental groups targeting businesses with selfish secondary boycotts.
He's an oil guy.
Yeah.
So he doesn't really care. He doesn't really buy this.
There's a fire tornado. Look at that shit.
That's crazy.
Damn.
So
what else we got in the news, fam? We couldn't close out a show if we didn't talk about it here in the news. Your girl.
Wait, real quick.
Sorry.
There was a whole protest or a petition that thousands of people signed in Australia to cut the fireworks. Right. There's like a big fireworks show in Australia.
Yeah, and there's also petitions to remove this guy, but
I'm sure.
See.
But they elected him because why? Because they had their move, probably neoliberals screwed up if I had to look into it. But I don't want to talk about stuff I don't know. And in the news, fam, we're going to close it on now. Jeffrey Epstein, socialite, Madam Ghislaine Maxwell is being hidden from the FBI in a series of safe houses because the information she has is on powerful
I 100% believe that.
people.
I mean, these people can get away with everything. Here we have, the world on fire, Australia on fire. We have people going to war, these neocons inventing lies to go to war. I can certainly believe that this woman is protected because she has dirt on some pedophiles doing stuff to kids. So.
There were a lot of, she's got information on so many people. There were a lot of other articles that say she's being hidden in safe houses in Israel. So we don't know about that. Once again, there's a lot of speculation that she has closest ties to the Mossad. Hey, Glory. Hashtag Epstein didn't hang himself. Did I do it? Epstein didn't kill himself.
Come on, fam.
But once again, there's talks about Ghislaine Maxwell being hidden out. And I think that's a good reason to go ahead and bomb and kill somebody in Iraq, Iran, because we want people not paying attention to that.
So, fam.
Yes.
What are we doing?
Wait, hold on real quick.
Johnny, quick.
So, what's the problem? Most people are consumed, right?
Yes.
And they can't really go protest and shit, right?
They got work tomorrow.
Tomorrow's Saturday, though.
And most people don't,
People got work.
What was like the latest thing that, caused a lot of money, to people who adopted it early?
You mean what helped people do cryptocurrencies?
It was
so
Bitcoin.
People who got in on Bitcoin early. Bitcoin's the number one used coin. What's the number two used coin?
Ethereum.
Ethereum.
Now, fams, I don't know if you know this, but the Ray token that is used on Rockfin.
Well, you got to
if
go.
You know about Rockfin.
You have to go.
Is an ERC20 token, which means that it is used on the Ethereum network. So, right now, we are in the Rockfin launched in March of last year, and we joined it in October or the end of August / October. And, whoa, here I am. There I am. I just want to get the camera here. We joined it in October, and we're making money through it. You know, we're making money through it better than YouTube at a better value. And I want the fans to get in on Rockfin.
Yes.
Because it's going to go up.
Yeah.
It's going to go up. It's going to get up. So I'm telling you, this is the next
Platform.
Bitcoin. This is the next Bitcoin. This is the next platform that's going to blow up because more and more people are joining it.
And they don't steal money. Like, YouTube steals so much money from us.
In fact, Rockfin, they listen to us. The staff, I have direct email to them. We can talk to them anytime. We get a lot of perks as creators. Now, you can support us on there by joining the subscription, or you can just buy Ray tokens. When a lot of people buy the Ray tokens, the price goes up because people are going to... it gives value to the Ray token.
If people buy Ethereum, does that help the Ray token too as well?
Yes.
Okay. Because it's in a lane. It's part of Ethereum. And
Correct.
Ethereum, you said, is the number 2 used coin in America. And by the way, Maggie, you're right.
America,
She's no madam. Somebody just keep on going over there talking about the X Space Force and talking about stop calling Ghislaine Maxwell a madam. You're right. She's a conditioner. She's terrible.
So what I'm saying basically is if you invest in Ray tokens now, it's going to go up. You're going to double your money, if not more.
Yeah.
That's
then
true.
you'll have money to go and protest and maybe invest in a business that you want to invest in.
Yep.
Cryptocurrencies, they're starting to really, really start taking off.
We
and,
really don't know what's going to... I mean, this is a pivotal year. Happy New Year. But
By
this
the
is
way.
but this is a year. Happy New Year. Happy New War.
Yeah.
Happy new decade.
This year is going to determine so much of what happens from here on out. And so, we all want to be able to be there. So that's why the fams and I are wanting to go on the road and wanting to go and cover these primaries. Why? Because we don't trust the establishment. We don't trust the oligarchy. The mainstream media doesn't go there. I've never seen TYT at a town hall or any of these other places either. So we want to be the ones to be there. So we are starting a GoFundMe for us to go on the road and hit Nevada, hit Iowa, go over there, watch out for our burners and our Tulsi people and our progressive people there, our people running for Congress, running for office. We want to go and help people out there. We want to document everything that's going on there. And, we're here in California, so we're lucky that we're going to get to document the shenanigans in California because we know there's going to be shenanigans. There's already shenanigans.
Boatload of shenanigans.
Already. So
it's going to get worse, too.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things that are going to be unraveling and happening in the next few months and that you're all going to see. But we want to be there to cover all of these things. So that's why we've started a GoFundMe. And Jonny has this video that he's going to play. And then after the video, in about an hour, we're going to release
It's
a
not
link
ready.
to the GoFundMe. Oh, you're
I
not.
needed to get approval first.
Oh, okay. So it's not ready yet, but we're going to probably release it in the next few days.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have a link up for you guys to donate. And GoFundMe is better than YouTube in that sense because they take away less money than YouTube does, because YouTube really just pretty much.
They really are hurting us. They're not just us. They're just all types of creators. They really suppress them. And the fact that we're in independent media, we have a double-edged sword on our head. So they want us out of there. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that was our first show back. It was almost 85 minutes, an hour and a half. Sorry it took so long, but we were gone for almost 2 weeks for the holiday break. We had some videos out there. We have a lot more things to come. Like I said, in a couple hours, we'll probably release the GoFundMe video. We really need your help on this, ladies and gentlemen. Number one, go over to Rockfin and sign up. If you can endorse us for $9.99 a month, do so. But if not, go over there.
It's free to sign up.
It's free to sign up. And usually when we do the debates and whatnot, they allow the live streaming for free. So you know what I'm saying? And there's a lot more people coming to that platform. So first things first, go over to Rockfin, ROKFIN, and get on over there and sign up. Tell them the CONVO couch sent you. Secondly, thank you if you have a few bucks. go to our Patreon. Help us out there. And third, if you want to help us out on this next venture coming up, remember, we want to be your eyes. We want to be your ears. We're going to have Johnny Sue there with a camera. We're going to have us with the microphones. And if we get in front of these people, we ask the hard questions, don't we, fam?
Yeah.
We did it at the KDM convention, and we'll do it there as well. So please, in a little bit, watch our video, go to our GoFundMe page, and then help us out. That's coming soon. So we're going to need your help to get out there, starting with Iowa.
Those cornfields.
We got anything else to go before we get out of here? For ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for our first show back. It's our first show of the new year, of the new decade. For Pasta Jardula,
Roaring 20s and Fiorella.
Johnny Sue on those 1s and 2s.
Peace.
Come out.
Pasta.